things have changed. From
Mm.
and I learned some things from you all as well. That's I'm definitely going to use because I'm the one where I don't feel like that. You can ever stop learning. As of how to be a good father. You don't. I mean, because again, you grow and change. But I want you guys to know I have learned from you tonight, and I appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
No, thank y'all.
I ain't
Agree.
learned you eating. I ain't learned nothing, man.
I know you did. I know you did.
Lord.
But yeah,
I
no,
get to
yeah,
beat up the
like
baby of
Alan
it.
said, man, because I really think about it. Somebody's mental health. That's
Right.
the big thing. We
Yep.
growing up, we always like put a band-aid on and keep going. You know
Yep.
what I mean? It's a real thing. So yeah, you're
Yep.
right, and I need to do better about that. Kind of thinking about somebody's health, man. So mental health. So that's a beautiful thing. Appreciate you.
Hey everyone, welcome back for a little TLC. So I know that we're supposed to be in a series regarding being more consistent with our New Year resolutions, but God keeps having me go in different directions. So here we are today. It is the first Monday in February. This is Black History Month, as well as a month that people usually use to celebrate love. Valentine's Day is this month as well. And so I wanted to have a couple of conversations involving family, love, and things of that nature. And so we're going to kick off this month with a conversation called the Father Daughter Talk. Okay. And so I'm really excited about tonight because there are so many folks who say that there are not Black fathers. There aren't many Black fathers who are involved with their children, and particularly their daughters. And so I'm excited to have some girl dads on tonight. And I was excited because it took me a little while to narrow it down, but I'm very excited about the folks that we have on the panel because I think that they're doing a wonderful job, not just with their children, but also with pouring into the lives of young people that may be around them but aren't biologically related to them. And so I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but I'm very excited to have this father-daughter talk where we're going to be getting some advice from men to women as they would give advice to their daughters. So we're going to kick it off with Alan, who's going to introduce himself.
Hi everyone. I'm Alan Hedden. I'm a father of three daughters. I have twins that's 24 this year. Brittany and Brianna. My youngest will be 20 this year, and it's Jake. I've been married to Tanya for 29 years, and we're coming up on being together for 30 years.
All right.
Okay, my name is Eric Bluford, and didn't think I was gonna have to remember how long I've been married, but thanks, Alan. Appreciate it. I have three wonderful daughters. My oldest is yours truly, Erica Bluford, hostess tonight.
Amen.
She is 29, right?
Mhm.
Okay. My middle daughter is Aries, and she is 24. My youngest girl is Erin, and she's 22. Happily married to my childhood sweetheart, Keisha Bluford. We've been happily married for 22 years. How about that?
My name is Brandon Watkins. I have three kids as well. One daughter, two sons. My daughter, she is 6. She'll actually be 7 on the 23rd of this month. And then I have a son that's 5, and then a 1-year-old as well. Been married to my wife, Jessica. We're 7 years. It'll make 8 this year in October. So yeah.
And my name is Nick Miles. I'm gonna be married 4 years coming up this year. And I am the newest to the daddy crew. I have a 6-month-old daughter, so I'm able to learn something from these seasoned daughter dads on here too.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I did want to, like, there are some folks that I've asked to be on the panel who are like, I haven't even been like a parent that long. I can't say nothing. But I think that, like, one things that we learn about how we parent, we accumulate that information like over time. And even for dads, like research shows that something within them changes when they become a parent too. And so I think that Nick, you'll have a lot to contribute to this conversation. So I'm very excited. We're gonna start with, I don't know if this is a softball question or not, and y'all can answer however y'all are led. But why do you think a father-daughter relationship is important?
I'll jump out there. I think it's important just because that's really really the first male figure that a female or a daughter will see. And I feel like that's really what shapes her views about men as she grows older, and kind of helps her almost have another safe space outside of the mother. I know sometimes it may not seem like dad may be that approachable, but I know for me, I try to be all ears. I want her to be able to be open to communicate with me, so that anything that comes her way, I can be that ear or that guide for her as well. So
And piggyback off of Brandon, that father gives another perspective in terms of life. And sometimes, and typically, depending on the guy that she's dating, you can kind of help her and guide her through those relationships as well, as far as giving some good advice and possibly how he's feeling or maybe what he's thinking about. Just be able to be balanced. One thing a mother can't, she can complete that job as far as raising her daughter, but you have to have that father figure where those things that the mother cannot necessarily bring to the table in terms of the other side, the father will fill in those gaps.
Yeah, I completely agree with all of those. I would say that it's just good to get a different point of view, because I mean let's be honest, men and women think different. I mean we have
Right.
totally different views on. I could see something and swear up and down is one way, and then my wife would see it and think it's a whole different thing. So I think it's very important for a father-daughter relationship to actually be there. So that daughter can actually see or get different views from both sides of the coin. I mean, you're gonna it's naturally to you would think it's natural for them to bond with their mother. That
Right.
should be a natural thing. So I think it's very important for them to experience a bond with the male figure in their lives, so they can see it. You just get different point of views. So.
And a father is really that first male figure that a daughter is going to see and encounter. And you want to set, as a father, you want to set that good example too. We don't, I mean, because truth be told, I mean, what they see in the home is what they're going to, a lot of our daughters going to want to replicate. Because I can tell you, for speaking from experience, Jalen, just talking with her and listening to her feedback, and which is good. We don't, as fathers, we don't realize how much of an influence we have on our daughters. But just listening to her talk and listening to her feedback, it's a big influence and that we have on our daughters. But we're that first male figure, and you would like for what you have presented to your daughters to be that standard, at least. And you want that to be a good standard, one. Two, you want to make sure that what you're presenting is not something that they have to deal with or encounter in the future. Now, granted, we all have our flaws, but you don't want them to see all of those somewhat negative things. You will have discussions with that, but you want to make sure you make a good presentation for your daughter.
And I would say, also it's something just having a father, a daughter. I feel like it feel like more protected, or she feel like she got like has a man in her corner. And I think that goes a long way. Although I do think there are some crazy moms out there that can make their kids feel protected. I just think it's something different about a male figure. Being there for protective purposes. Somebody gonna put their life on the line if needed and so forth. And also just being able to feel, always fall back on the love from a man that comes from your father, versus the first time that your daughter, truly feels love. It's some guy in middle school or high school, whatever the case may be, but always being able to fall back on, at least I know my daddy loved me no matter what.
Agree.
Yeah. And as a daughter who has a very active father, I can agree with everything that they just said. That was great. Y'all preaching out here. Like I feel so, I don't know, like I just have a big smile on my face. It's good. I don't even know where to go, because y'all talked about so much, like feeling protected, being really the first male influence on your daughters. You talked about being a good balance, someone to bounce ideas off of when dating, and wanting to set a good standard. So I guess I'll start with the standard part. So like, where did you all learn like what a standard should be, like the standard for what a good man is?
Well, I'll jump in first. I've never had my father in my life, so the things that I experienced and dealt with, I just didn't want that repeated with my children. So for me, I always looked at it as a father as being, like Nick said, a protector, making and provider, and at the same time, making the sacrifices that need to be made for my children, that so they wouldn't have to experience some of the things that I experienced. So for me, I mean, just a good father. I mean, we got the typical, work hard, do the right thing, and that everything else should follow after that. But to me, it's way deep. Sacrifices have to be made for a long time, and I think a lot of, for me, I think as a father, I have to be there for my children until I'm here. I'm not here anymore. I think some fathers look at it where they get to a certain age and we want to kind of cut that off, and it's like, okay, well, you're grown now. Well, even though you're grown, you're still a child. So I look at that as, and I take this as having, my children very seriously, and I'm like, this is something that's going to the grave. It's not okay just get to a certain age and then that's it. No, it's for me, it's to the grave. So I think, for me, and it's my experience, I've just had that drive of making sure to be the best father I can possibly be to my children, because I didn't have my dad in my life, but I never felt like he did not want to be in my life. As I got older, I found out some things that was different, but I've never had that feeling like he didn't want to be a part. So, but that drive for me was just seeing good men that over the course of my life, and kind of mimicking that a little bit as far as whatever that may be, the good things. Again, that's within the situation, you take the good things out and you can kind of trash the the things that you might consider bad. But sacrifice for me is huge, and that's in terms of father. That's because you're never going to stop sacrificing. Speaking, once you've been in it for a long time, it's everyday sacrifice, regardless of how old your children get, regardless of what's going on. You're always going to be making a sacrifice. So making that sacrifice daily is big for me.
Yeah, I'm same as Alan. I didn't really know my dad growing up either. So I was actually raised by my grandparents. So I just really, growing up, that my grandfather was really my first role model that I saw, as well as other people that I would, I guess, deal with. So through whether it be extracurricular activities, I had some family members that I would play sports with and things of that nature that I would look to for an example, because they had that quote unquote complete, 2-person household. as well as really being brought up in the church since I was little. So it was just a lot of other men that I would look to in the church as well. That's just how they moved day to day, seeing them in and out of church and just how they carried themselves. But I do totally agree with the sacrifice piece. I just think as a male or as a father, it's just, based on scripture and, sacrifice is key. We got to provide, we got to be the protector, and we just have to make a way. And I totally agree with that it never ends. I think I heard someone recently say, parenting doesn't stop when they get 18. I know, I feel like within our community, I think it can kind of go that way sometimes. You 18, you out my house, you on your own type thing.
Right.
But I do feel like it would be important just to have that fallback. Yeah,
Correct.
you can go out here and be independent, go off and do great things. Hopefully I've instilled enough values and things in you to do that. But if something were to happen, I still want to be there for you to be able to call on if, even if it's just something didn't go right, your tire went flat, and, somebody trying to charge you $80 to put air in the tire type thing.
Right.
Something like that, at least call me. That way I know you ain't nobody trying to get over on you. But.
Right.
Oh, that's good. Look, I'm going to go now because my story is so similar to both of you guys. Nick didn't have to worry about that, so I'm going to go now. But mine was the same way, man. And see that I think there's a difference between a good man and a good father. I learned that from my father. He's a good man. He is. He took care of his business and everything, but he just wasn't the father type. Okay, just wasn't. I actually learned. I think about being a good father through just like you guys, just with interacting with other quote unquote good men. You see some guys that stand with their families and providing and stuff like that, especially like in the church. But yeah, and I really think my best example or my best I guess key to being a good father was actually when I got saved. That changed everything for me. I know for a fact that the Holy Spirit has actually done the best job in showing me what to do and teaching me what to do as far as being a good father and a good man. Because I can tell y'all, before I got saved, yeah, I wasn't thinking about nobody but myself.
Gotcha.
Now, with God in me, guiding me, I feel like I put myself on the back burner to make sure my family and my daughters are taken care of. That is my biggest component about being a good father or a good person. I ain't gonna say a good man, just a good try to be a better person.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I feel you on that. I teach all of my daughters. All of them know how to change tires. Brandon, I feel you on that. They'll call me when something's going on. Make sure ain't nobody just trying to beat them because they are women.
Right.
Just because they're women, that don't mean I'm trying to show them that they don't mean you got to fall for any and everything. You got to have standards.
Right.
And just to piggyback on the last thing about it ending when you turn 18. See, that's an example of somebody who just think I paid child support.
Right.
I'm through with you until I'm 18 years old. That's the standard that a lot of us black men, or just men in period, think
Right.
that they are actually taking care of their kids through child support. I think you need to be present, but not only being present. I know some people that are present that ain't worth a dog on. So
right.
just being present ain't gonna be enough. You need to be present, but you need to be presently involved in everything, in every aspect of your family's life, day-to-day life. Okay.
Right.
Daddy, you ain't been saved all your life.
I have not. I have not.
I'm messing with you. Go ahead, Nick. I saw you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, so I'm as Mr. Eric said, I'm in a totally different situation where I had a great relationship with my dad and his dad. I feel like my dad's dad raised me just as much as my dad did at times, especially when it came to tough love verbally. But I just I've always had that example, and because I have two sisters, I seen my dad be I just felt him being my dad, but I seen him be a girl dad to my sisters, and I feel like I grew up in a modern household where both of the parents work, so it wasn't just like my dad's gonna go out to work and mama's gonna do everything as far as taking care of the kids and changing diapers and doing hair and stuff. So I seen both my parents work, but also my dad do all the manly stuff, but also all of the what people would call I'm not going to say changing diapers and doing hair is motherly, but just outside of the traditional role of of what a man did in fatherhood. So I feel like I think my mom probably attest to this. My dad probably did my sister's hair more. He probably cooked more. Like he did. He was like genuinely like I think I'm the man of the house, but I'm still really not the man of the house like my dad is. So it's a lot to to live up to. But I always had that example. So it's pretty easy question for me as far as how did you learn how to be a good man and a good dad. It's
Right.
Dude, always know. I've always known.
Awesome.
Awesome. Hey, bro, look, look, I do a mean. Look, my parts be a little crooked, but I can make them little puffs on the side.
Well, you better than me, because the best I can do is put that ponytail on the top.
Hey, it'll work.
Oh my goodness. But y'all all have experience doing a little hair on the side, cooking, all of that. Yeah, I think that's really good. And so it sounds like whether it be like in your actual home with Nick's case, or if it be with church folks, those in your other members of your family, those in the community, it is important for you to have some form of a role model to kind of figure out what this dad thing might look like, or rather, as my dad said, the difference between a good man and a good father, and like how that plays out in real life. I also like that you mentioned, in addition to having physical earthly folks, you mentioned how having the guidance of the Holy Spirit is also very important in teaching you how to be a good man of the house. Brandon mentioned biblically, scripture teaches you as well how to be a good man. So speaking of good man, and I think Alan had mentioned bouncing some ideas off when it comes to dating. I do want to shift. It's Valentine's Day coming up, so we want to give the ladies a little love advice. And some of this may actually intersect with some things that you have already said. But when it comes to your daughter, okay, what type of man should she be looking for? That's my first relationship question. What type of man? I know folks, the churchy folks is gonna see this, gonna say, no, it's the man who finds a wife. He the one who need to be looking. So tell me, who should your daughter be putting herself in the view of? What type of man?
Look, I would say first and prayerfully, and I pray before I roll out of bed. Matter of fact, I roll out of bed and stretch out and pray every morning that my daughters find somebody that they can actually be evenly yoked with. That for me is the first thing. It's not the only thing, but I think that's the groundwork, because I promise you, I know one of these questions a little later on is about relationships, but you can't do nothing. You won't make it if both of y'all ain't on the same page. I mean, if you are grounded and believe in Christ, and you marry a Buddhist, it's gonna be rough. Not saying it ain't gonna work. Right. Trust me, God. I don't put my God in a box. Anything is possible.
Right.
But yeah, life is hard enough by itself. Don't let that be a struggle. If you get it all here. Okay. Right. So That's what I would say. They need to be looking for somebody that they are equally yoked with. First off,
I won't let one of the young men go.
I can see it on Brandon and Nick's face. They like, my daughter ain't never dated nobody. That's what they say. Okay, we're gonna think way into the future when they about 30. Okay, way in the future.
Oh, man.
That's tough. It's different to even think about. But I guess I've always in my mind, I've always thought, even when I found out I was having a daughter, I always thought like, okay, I'm gonna have to, have that conversation, at some point, as far as like looking for dudes, or who you want to, try to eventually settle down with. So I will say I'm not in the crowd to think that, I don't want to date nobody, this is gonna be my little girl forever. Like, I definitely want to pass her off, at some point, as far as, having a man take the lead, and, be somebody that, that they, as Mr. Eric said, are evenly yoked with. So I think, as far as first of all, a man of God. I feel like if he's a man of God and he has good character, then that's somebody that obviously, I feel comfortable, passing her passing her off to, and I would say, don't get too caught up in earthly things to the point where you don't never get anybody. If you don't say, he got to be 6 foot when it's a dude 5'10" that's good, that loves God, is gonna take care of you.
Right.
Don't pass him up because he got to be 6 foot. Then now you on the other end where you never found somebody. So I would say really just focus on that aspect, and pray to God. I think God will send you, whoever it is that that He wants you to be with. But don't get caught up too much in the earthly things. As long as he's a good dude, good character. We don't care if he make 300,000-400,000, or if he makes 30,000 to 40,000. We ain't really worried about that. Just is he gonna take good care of you?
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. If going into it, he may not be man of God in the very beginning, but somebody that may be that's willing, or at least wants to do the right thing. So somebody that's a good, moral value, integrity, somebody that's going to support her, and not try to, control her in a sense of the word, but let work together, like both of you have said, be equally yoked. Because again, you have to. They both will end up having to support each other, and complement each other. So somebody that's encouraging to her, and doesn't try to dampen her dreams and her aspirations, but then at the same time, she can encourage to make that, to do the right thing, and better himself as well. So just being able to be willing and adaptable. I feel like I still learn every day. Definitely don't consider myself to be perfect by any means. Continue to, make mistakes. But long as I can reflect on it and be better, is what I would be looking for her as well. Somebody that can exhibit those same characteristics and qualities.
So first, we want to put God first in everything, and that's what we teach our daughters. God first, period, and he has to understand that as well. I talked to my daughters about how I met their mom and how I pursued her. And I keep telling my daughters, and I understand nowadays, females and women, they approach men. But see, that's not how that wasn't part of me and E's age group. We pursued them. So, and I understand I'm not naive.
Man, they would sweat me pretty hard back in the day, man. Hey, even before social media, brother. Yeah,
that. Okay, well. Let me take a step back. My bad, E. But that's what I was teaching them, as far as the guy pursuing them, and they tell me, they're like, well, guys don't, they're not like you all, like you all used to be. And I said, well, God still made some. There's still some out there, so those are the ones that you want to deal with and make sure that, you know, and I just try to show by example as far as my lifestyle, you know, how I treat their mom, for them to be able to see that. And when they see that, that's what I want them to encounter. Small things, opening the door, just doing those things when you go out. You take care of your woman. I take care of my wife. They see that. And once they see that, then that's the standard for them to me, or better in terms of the guy that they want to be with. But again, you know, it all starts in the beginning. God first, period. And these guys covered that well, so I don't need to go into that whole lot.
Yeah,
My bad.
I think there have been some consistent themes, not just with this question, but throughout. So one, someone who puts God first, values having a connection with God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit. Y'all have talked about someone being able to take care of them. Y'all have mentioned being a provider. And that being a provider, I don't think necessarily means they're out here making millions of dollars, but like,
Right.
what does it look like for them to take care of you? And y'all have also mentioned in the past, like being like a protector, like you want someone who can protect you, whether that be emotionally or physically, because that's what your father does for you. I do also want y'all to talk about what type of woman in the relationship context, well, this could be in general, what type of woman your daughter should be if she's going to attract this man that y'all have laid out you want for her.
I want my daughter to be, you know, it might sound cliche, obviously somewhat independent, has her own way of thinking, and it just has enough smarts, I guess you could say, about herself to know, you know, if it takes whatever 30 years or 40 years, whatever, down the line for her to find that person, but she still knows herself. So she knows her worth, her values, and can still continue to better herself and continue with her dreams and aspirations. So yeah, I got some more stuff, but I kind of lost it for a second, so come back to it.
Hey, bro, you cover the bases, man. That the main thing I would say that I want my daughters to remember is to have standards. You got to have some kind of standards, so whoever you're dealing with don't think they can do or say anything to you. If you allow somebody to do or say anything to you, trust me, the remainder of that relationship is going to be them doing and saying anything to you. So yeah, have some standards. Have some standards.
And also, I think for me, one thing that I is to understand is that a relationship is never 50-50. Never 50-50. Anybody that says that, they don't know what they're talking about. It's always going to be 80-20. It just depends on where their 80-20 falls at. Because you go one, it's a partnership. That's the main thing I'm trying to do. It's a partnership. You're going, my daughter's going to be stronger in areas that he may not be. And in time of need, it's going to be 80%. Somebody going to give 80%. The other side going to give 20%. It's never going to be equal down. It's never equal split. So as long as she can understand that you're looking for a partner, you're looking for somebody that's going to understand you and back you, like Brandon said, as far as you continuing to grow, because as individuals, you start off at one level, but then you continue to grow over the course of time. I'm not the same person I was in our 5th year of marriage. I'm not the same person as in the 15th year of marriage. You're always evolving and growing. And as a person, we have to understand that. And I want them to understand that you're always changing. Just because that person may be at a certain level now, when you meet him, or you all first get married, it's not going to be the same 10 years, 15 years from now. So it's you're always growing, and you want that person to grow with in terms and support your growth, and vice versa. So that's for me, that's the main thing, because I know I used to hear, marriage 50-50, but then as I got in it, it's not 50-50. It's going to be 80-20. Just depending on what you're doing, 60-40, whatever. But it's never going to be 50-50. It's just depending on the situation and what you're dealing with.
Now, I would say that I think I know what you're trying to say about the 80-20. But I'm thinking like over the course of time, it's going to average out to 50-20 because there's going to be some times where you're going to be toting it and you're going to be dragging your spouse, and there's going to be times where your spouse is going to be dragging you. So I understand that 80-20, but
Right.
I'm thinking that over time it'll average out. It'll average out. So I see where you're going, big guy.
No, well, you're right. Get
Yeah.
I
I see where you're going.
I would want my daughter to grow up and be, a confident, self-loving individual, but also be humble, but be confident almost to a fault as far as like not don't just get in a relationship with a guy and just because you in a relationship with him or it's a guy that you're gonna follow his lead. Like I want you to be like I would want her to be, a guy would have to earn that role in her life. And not just be like, oh, this my man's right here. I'm rocking with him, 10 toes down. Like I just don't want to be gullible, to that point where, she following the lead and they both going in the wrong direction. So kind of, not even almost be forced like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna let this one take the lead because because this is the one, not just because this is the one right now. So I'm rocking with him.
Okay.
To piggyback off of Nick, just not losing the voice. Just being able to like he said, if it feels like her significant other or partner at the time is leading them in the wrong direction or maybe going down a path they should be going down, I would want her to be willing enough and confident enough to speak up and not lose her voice. So then also that guy needs to be receptive to that voice as well. And if he's not receptive to that voice, then he might as well keep it moving. That's what I'm gonna do. So, because I mean, it's never going to, if he's that headstrong to where he can't take her opinion or take her could be constructive criticism or what have you, then again, it's never going to really work. Because just like Alan's saying, just like Eric's saying, sometimes it's 80-20, 60-40, whatever. It could be 50-50 sometimes. It's never going to be, like you said, an even split throughout this duration that we're in. So just knowing that she can still be confident to not lose her voice. So totally agree with Nick on that.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's important for the ladies to have some standards, to be somewhat independent, and to be confident and to have a voice and not really just like let everything go because you want to be in a relationship. Y'all have talked about some things that I think women generally should know about relationships from the male perspective. So talking about like recognizing that it is a partnership, and that things do change over time, and also like having a willingness to just like grow and have someone that's going to grow with them over time. Do y'all have any other advice or things you think women should know about relationships?
Yeah, I think they pretty much cover, to be honest with you. I mean, we know that it's not going to be all sunny. There's going to be some ebbs and flows. You just got to be patient to know if you're with the right person. Preferably, they will pick the right person. That over time, everything will work out if you're patient, and if you first keep God first. And like Alan said, you're gonna change. I mean, yeah, you're gonna change throughout the process. So just be mindful of that. To know that there are going to be some changes, and y'all have to change together. But again, as long as you keep that one constant, and that's the Lord, that change will eventually come a whole lot better than it would without him. So. Yeah.
Pay attention to red flags. I think
Red flag.
depending on what that is, I think sometimes women will overlook certain things that they know, and like Eric said, no, that's the spirit speaking to you, and that doesn't lie. And pay attention to that. I mean, and there's no, I mean, and Nick and Brandon hit on horn. They hit a nail when they were saying about not losing your voice. It's There's nothing wrong with you being who you are, because you are who you are. Speaking for myself, that confidence that my daughters have, a father play a big role in that. We really help them establish that confidence. From a mother, yes, a mother would do that part, but a father is that foundation for that. They know, they can stand on their own too, and they know that without a shadow of a doubt, one, I'm beautiful, one, I'm smart, I can do anything, because that foundation is there, and what's holding all that together is God. But for my daughters, it's women in general, pay attention to some of those red flags, because once they come up, just kind of keep an eye on it. Again, I'm not perfect, and I don't claim to be. I really don't claim to be perfect, because Lord knows we all have work that until we go away from here. But just pay attention to those red flags. That makes a big difference.
I would say, as far as going off the not being perfect topic, understand that you don't want to lose your voice, and you want your voice. You want to have some say so. Always have say so, but also don't be able to take constructive criticism. I feel like that's just in my experience.
Cuss word. I'm just cuss word to the ladies.
In my experience, I feel like men in general, but maybe it's just by nature. I feel like we deal with constructive criticism a little bit better than women who might take it emotionally or take it to heart. So I know. I think sports was big on that for me, because it was very very upfront, black and white. We're gonna watch film. Either you messed up or you didn't. And being able to, whether it's sports or if you don't play sports, whatever the case may be, just be able to take constructive criticism and get better, understanding, that you a work in progress too. Don't think that, you got all these demands, you got all this say so, but then, can't nobody say nothing to you, at the same time. So.
To piggyback kind of off of what Eric was saying with, there being the valleys and, the highs and lows within a relationship. Also to kind of, I guess, bring in Alan with the red flags. I mean, if for whatever reason you're in, she's in a relationship and it doesn't work out, I wouldn't want her to beat herself up or be, discouraged, to make it feel like, maybe it was something she did wrong or what have you. Again, I'm a wholehearted believer in, if it ain't working out, it's just that the Lord didn't want it to work out. Because if the Lord's in it and both of y'all are in it, and keeping him at the center of it, then you should be able to work through it. And if not, then I would take that as a sign, like I said, that the Spirit doesn't want that to be. That's not where you should be. And for her not to get discouraged and look at that as more of a growth moment, or a stepping stone to something better.
Preach, brother, preach.
Y'all feeling yourselves on here. I will say, okay, so just a couple of things. One, because Alan was talking about red flags and Brandon was also talking about red flags. All my ladies, I'm doing a book club right now with a book called Sis Don't Settle. And so if you are interested in that book, and it is not one of those things, it's like How to Catch a Man in 10 Days. Like it's not that at all. But it is a really good book that talks about just like loving yourself and also being able to recognize the red flags and what to do when you do see those things. So ladies, if you are interested in that, please message me or email me so you can jump in on the book club. It's not too late. And so I can talk to you about that. Then the second thing is, Nick talked about how we women don't take constructive criticism that well. And I will say that because we have the men on tonight doing the father-daughter talk. Although like constructive criticism, it's never really easy to take, but I think that from a male perspective, it is easier for me to take constructive criticism because I have received correction from my father at some point in time. I was almost a perfect child, but I think that because because I had my father in my life, it's not like that. The world is not coming to an end if a man like comes to me and says something, because I have received that in my lifetime from my dad. And so I do think it's very important for you to have your father or some male role model in your life to kind of help you through that and get some skills behind that. So we've talked about relationships, we talked about the type of man to look for, the type of woman to be. I do want to know, and some things may overlap, and I think that I know at least one answer to this. What are some things that you hope your daughter prioritizes in her life? I will say 3 things you hope that she prioritizes. Yeah, that's the question. What are 3 things that you hope your daughter prioritizes in her life?
For me, it would be. Go ahead, Nick.
I was gonna go first, so I couldn't be copying anybody. I would say number one, obviously, I think what everyone would say, her spiritual walk, make sure she's right with God. What I would prioritize more than anything. And then number 2, I have her prioritize just self-love and understanding her value and as like we talked about, just being confident. And I feel like it's tougher for girls than it is for boys, because you always have like a beauty standard, and you're always competing, like especially like social media. Everybody, you can see what pretty much everybody look like. People across the country, across the world. So not be self-conscious, but understand. Love yourself. And how God made you. And then number 3, I want her to be find something she's passionate about and be pretty driven. And have a good work ethic. I feel like that goes back to the independent side of, saying woman to be independent. I don't want her to, feel like she got to sit around and wait on somebody, to come save her or scoop off her feet. I want her to, go and make your own money, and then ask him what he brings to the table,
Oh
man. Well, yeah, of course. Like Nick said, everybody's going to say, her spiritual walk. But to add to it, I would say her mental health. I think the mental health piece is critical. Just like he said, between social media, it's just so much that comes at the generation now. I feel like that it didn't come at me until later in life. So just that mental health piece, which I think could also kind of tie into the self-love piece as well. And then her education, whether that be she decides to go to college, she decides to go to the military, decides to pick up a trade, decides to be an entrepreneur, whatever it is, as long as she keeps learning, like Nick said, and has that passion just to keep better and get better and not be stagnant or content, will just push whoever she decides to be with to be better as well, and continue to grow as a whole.
I would say again, God first. One thing that my second would be family. I want them, and one thing that I teach my daughters is to love each other unconditionally. Make sure you take care of each other, because I won't be here forever, but I need for you all to take care of each other always. And just trying to break some of those generational things that's not good in terms of family is concerned. So that would be number 2. And then the third one would be piggybacking off of Nick and Brandon as far as careers are concerned. I push them to do something that you love, because it's not work when you do something that you love. And so I push them as hard as I can to find that thing that you love to do and you enjoy to do, and that's what you do. And I support them as much as I possibly can to achieve those goals. So however long they'll be in school, which as of right now we already know, they're going to be in there for a while. So, and I support that because that's good. But God definitely first, family, and then enjoy what you're doing as far as your career is concerned. And I think all the other things that tying into you being confident in yourself and being able to stand on your own too will fall in place along that process.
Okay, all right. This is Erica. Good job. This is a good forum and platform, and I'm not going to steal anybody's anybody answers. I'm gonna stick to what I originally was going to say, but y'all come up with some good stuff, and I'm kind of thinking about maybe I need to switch my stuff up. But I'm gonna stick to what I had originally, and that's going to be God first. We are all on the same page with that, because when you when you have experienced and lived it and seen God work, you want that for your kids. You want them to have the same belief and foundation, because if that's the only thing that ain't gonna fail is God. So yeah, got to have them first. My next was just like Alan said, family. This may be the old heads, family. Family second. I preach that. I pray that that my kids, I pray about it, but I am so happy to see that they all get along. I see a lot of people, man, with families, man, and they don't even speak to each other, and
right.
always fighting and feuding and stuff. But
right.
I thank God that my family, my family right here, man, everybody loves each other and get along. So yeah, that is one thing that I want them to prioritize. And thirdly, it's their careers. I want them to be passionate about their careers. I want all of them to find something that they love to do. Right. And thankfully, God is so good, man. God is so good. Thankfully, all of my kids are doing what they love to do. Man. And that's a blessing. It's a blessing. I know that ain't nothing but God.
Amen.
But I always support them, tell them, let them know, do it because you love to do it. Because if you don't want to do it, you ain't got to work. We got you. Got you. So they know that. So I'm glad that they know that they actually doing what they love to do, and they actually they are good, hard working ladies, man. All of them got a good work ethic, man. Some people only work in a pie factory, man. Making pies, but all my kids are actually hard workers and committed and doing great. So hey, man, it all circle back to the Lord. Thank you, God. That's all I can say, man. Thank you, God. Yeah.
Man, I think Alan felt his help coming on. I thought he was going to take off running.
Hey, look, we
almost
kill
did.
It ain't nothing but the Lord.
That's right. I almost did, though. I almost did. I felt that.
Yeah. I think it's good, though, to be able to, because I mean, Alan's children, of course, my dad's children are a little bit older. And so I think it's good to be able to see, like, when you are being this good role model, this good male role model for your children, then like what the Bible says, train up a child in the way they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. And so y'all are able to see some of the fruit of your training. And I think, like, even though Brandon, like your children are younger, like even be able to see them serve in the church because of what you are putting in. And Nick, you have soul in the church. She can't walk nowhere, so she so she's there. And so I look forward to seeing how your children continue to grow and develop to become the people that you are training them to be. And so I can feel why you feel your help coming on. How you feel that in your spirit. So I think that's good. Yeah, we've had such great conversation. I'm gonna ask y'all, I'm not gonna throw out my random question, but I will ask y'all if y'all have any general last advice, anything that you think that you didn't say but you want to give to the ladies or to your daughter. Because I'm gonna save this for Miss Ava. I'm gonna save this for Soul. Be like, this is what your daddy was talking about.
man. Hey, look, I would say, and Erica, you done heard me say this a million times. Life is hard enough as it is, so don't do anything to make it even harder. Just be patient and just realize that there are consequences to our actions. Okay, so just be mindful of that. Don't make any rash decisions, anything without thinking it through, because there's consequences to your actions, and also just be reminded that some things are out of our control. If it's out of your control and ain't nothing you can do about it, don't lose no sleep over it. It'll work itself out.
There are two metaphors that I've used with the girls. I'm sure they probably tired of them, but I don't care. And like Eric said, there are things that's out of your control. Don't plant your mailbox there. It's okay to have a moment, but you can't plant your mailbox there because there's nothing there. There's nothing there. So you have to have your moment, pick yourself up, and then continue to move forward. Another one is that definitely, but that's one that I know I use all the time. Is that regardless of what happened, you can't plant mailbox in bad situations. Stuff is going to happen all the time. But that would be it. If it come back to me, I'll bring it back. But it left me just that quick as soon as I got talked.
Hey man, you got to tell me what you heard. I know you didn't make that up on your own, man. That's pretty good right there, boy.
No, honestly, hey, you can use it, but you can use it.
Oh no! Look, it's already in there. I got it in my oven right now.
That's about like the end of the day. At the end of the day.
Yes, sir. Oh man.
I would say, I mean, I'm just speaking, from as far as where I'm at and what I experienced, having being an infant, having an infant and whatnot. Whenever my daughter does get to the age where she hopefully finds someone and then she wants to, to have kids or whatnot of herself, just have I feel like society has set the bar extremely low when it comes to what the father is supposed to do,
Right.
in the infant stage, people I be taking care of the baby. The people be like, "Oh, you babysitting?" I'm like, "No, I'm not babysitting. I'm not babysitting." Or, "Oh my God, I'll be changing the diaper." A lady walk by, be like, "God bless your heart. My husband never changed a diaper in his life." I'm like, I like just have a don't go by those standards as far as expecting the bare minimum. If you hopefully you didn't chose that person to be to be your husband, your partner forever. So make sure he's gonna be willing to put the work in as far as the household, but also parenting and all that stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've heard that so many times, Nick. It's
crazy.
It's crazy. I'd be like, wow.
Yeah, like moms don't get any love, and a dad can do just the regular stuff. They be like, "Oh, like give you a round of applause." It's crazy.
I guess mine would, it's I don't know. Right now, I don't have any of these good, bring them home metaphors right now. But I mean, I guess for her, it's okay to make mistakes. But then, like you said, I want to say live in the moment and try not to be so. I know you want to plan for the future and think about the future, but kind of just be where you are right now and do what you need to do right now. I know, of course, kind of speaking from where she is at an age right now, she gets caught up in a lot of stuff that, like you said, don't plant that mailbox right there. Just, keep going. It's growing pains. You're gonna learn, and that's life. So long as you don't let it knock you down, get back up if it does knock you down, and just know that you have me at the end of the day as a help me if needed and a shoulder to lean on, cry on. So yeah, that would be pretty much it for me.
All right, that mailbox though, that mailbox.
Oh my goodness. All right. I might title this video "Don't Plant Your Mailbox There."
That's it.
Instead of father-daughter talk. So
Oh,
everyone
man.
really liked the metaphor. Did you think of the other one?
I didn't, but I'll send it to you if I did.
Okay. Brittany and Brianna and Jalen are gonna be like, I can't believe he forgot as much as he done said it.
Hey, look, I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why I can't remember, because he didn't make it up. He found it somewhere.
I did.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
I was
man.
just messing with you, bro. That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all, this has been an incredible conversation. I have taken a lot out of it myself, and I know that both women and men who watch this video will take a lot out of it as well. I do want to honor each and every man who is on the panel tonight. Alan, Mr. Bluford, also known as Daddy, Brandon, and Nick. I honor you all for the great job at fathering that you are doing, not only to your children, but I have seen each and every one of you pour into so many young people and older people as well. And so I honor you all. I thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. Everyone who watches, I really hope that you all take a lot out of it. There is an incredible benefit to having a good father in your life. And so even if you don't have that male role model, I hope that you are able to use what these men have said today and that it is sown on good soil in your life. And I hope that you are able to be connected to men in your community or in your church so that you can have this wonderful influence, because I am a living witness that having a good man, a good father in your life makes a world of difference. All right.
Man.
Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned in the weeks to come for the other talks that we're going to be having, because we have a really great lineup. Yeah, watch this as many times as you need to, and I'll see you next time for a little TLC. Bye-bye.